Hi, my name is Ria Waller, and I will be your instructor for CIT28 Client Server Databases here at Fresno City College, 100% online 18-week course. In this course, what the goal for you and I is to learn more about client server databases. And you might start with, well, what is that and why do I need to learn about it? So, what the world we live in today, it's so easy to ask questions, both from search engines and now with these large language models, or what you might commonly know as ChatGPT. Now, there are many other models out there to answer some basic questions about things that you might want to know about. So I thought this is a good place to start. So I happen to be running Meta's, which is a llama 70 billion parameter, which is mind blowing to begin with. That's the amount of parameters that you have inside the LLM. But I thought I would start with the question, right? Why is it important to learn about client server databases? And we could break down this idea of client server and we'll learn more about it. But really, this might be better suited to say, really, we're going to learn SQL, okay? So, but I thought I would just review for a moment, like why learn about it. And the very first one, the very first result from asking this question is understand how data is stored and retrieved. And really, that's where we begin this journey in this class, is understanding those concepts. And really, it's the entirety of what we hope you walk away with after taking this class, is that ability to understand and write SQL statements to accomplish storing and retrieving data. And it sounds like a simple thing, and in some ways it's a fairly straightforward thing. It's really understanding how to write these SQL statements to achieve a specific goal. But this concept of client server databases goes way beyond this. Now, it's beyond the scope of this course, but the reason I explain this part to you is really, if this is your first database class, and for many of you it may be, and if tech, in some ways, and this kind of brings up the idea of where students will take a class like this, and you may be coming from the web developer program, or you might be coming from the data analytics, or maybe some other place that I haven't even considered. And so whichever pathway or whichever way you got to this class, there are many different ways in which databases will impact both your professional and your personal life. So the more you have an understanding of that, and how to utilize that, and how, as I look through this list, like the importance of administering databases, scalability, security. So security is a huge one, right? Because that's the thing about the world that we live in, is and now let's talk personal. Our personal information is stored in a huge amount of places, right? Think about it. Just off the top of my head, I can think about the DMV. I can think about Social Security. I can think about my bank, right? It's hugely important. Not only what's stored, but the security of those. Like here on campus, right? You are taking courses and you are, in our case, using a system called Canvas. And that system, all those systems at some level have a database that stores information that then the client, and that's where, if we were to delve into this idea of client server databases, that's really what it's talking about. You have all this data stored somewhere, and then you have these clients that request data in some ways. Now, that client can start from, of course, the browser. The browser is the thing we think about most commonly, but there's a whole stack of technology that gets used to actually both retrieve and then present that data back. As an example, here in Canvas, right? So what we're looking at here is the beginning of our course, and you can think about all the courses that you take, the function of you logging into Canvas and what you have to go through. And again, you can think about all the other courses on, or all the other services on campus, like self-serve, Again, we could go on and on. So all those have a database of some type. So learning these concepts of going back to here, how to, right, the fundamentals. But I guess my point of this beginning is that this concept will be something you, in my opinion, you will learn about in the rest of your career because it touches so many aspects of what and technology we do, and sometimes we don't even realize that's what we're dealing with. But I thought it'd be interesting too to spend I just spent a little time before I started recording thinking about all the different ways, right? Real world applications, client, cloud computing, and distributed systems. And again, these terms may very well be new to you, but my point of this discussion is really just to say, welcome to the beginning of in my opinion, a lifelong quest to learn more about the way we store, because there's a whole profession that is for database design, optimization, and then there's a whole other profession, could be the same depending on the size of the company, about retrieving that. But your goal in this class is to learn about how to store and retrieve data using SQL. That's what I want you to know. Okay, so I have said this, I believe, when I referenced it before, but my primary teaching is in the web development side. And I am excited to teach this particular course that not only has those students coming into it, but also the data analytics students. I love these topics, and to get to teach something that I know about but haven't necessarily taught has been it's exciting because you see all the different ways you can try to deliver course content. Now, for this program and for us as a campus, we're really working on bringing to students course material that is free. There's various terms you may hear, but really we're just looking for you not having to purchase a textbook, because textbooks, as wonderful as they are pricey and become out of date. And I mean, there's a lot of different reasons, and really it can often keep students from succeeding in a course, just the prohibitive cost of textbooks. So when I got the information, or when I was asked to say, you're going to be teaching this course, I immediately started looking at all the different resources, and there are a bunch out there. And I really started drilling down about what I thought was a quality courseware. Now, why, you might wonder then, if we're not using a textbook, why are we still looking for free resources out there? And the answer is, for me in particular, given that this is the first time I'm going through and creating or running a course like this, generally the first couple of times I do that, I will lean upon resources that are available to me. So I did, like as an example, I teach JavaScript. That course I've been teaching several years, and so over that course of time, I've created my own materials. But just like you, I get to learn along with you. I mean, everything you're going to do in this course, I will have done already. Because A, it's important that I up my skill set, because I have dealt with databases, I've designed databases, but it's just really fun to take it from how do we learn, and in this case, SQL. So that's the course material we're going to be using, leaning into a CS50's Introduction to SQL. Now, if you don't know who CS50 or where that comes from, there's a Harvard class, CS50, that's Introduction to Computer Science, that has now expanded its offering of open courseware. And so what I've done in this course is I've taken that particular framework and I've leaned into it for your lectures. And in this case, lectures are what you don't just watch, you actually code along with the lectures. And then we will have problem sets. So first you learn about something, you code along, and then we give you a problem set that says, okay, here's the problem, write the code to achieve, answer this problem, to solve this problem. So that really brings up the concept of problem solving and the important skill set of actually authentically learning how to understand SQL to achieve particular outcomes and how to develop your problem solving skill set, which relies on all of that. So for that, another aspect of this class is going to be a technical interview. You will have one technical interview with me where if you have done the work authentically in this course, and there's structures I will have created to help you do that, because I guess what I would say to you is I get it that these large language models are pretty easy to ask questions of, but if you don't authentically develop your own skill set for problem solving and the ability to write SQL, you're really cheating yourself. And I know that's probably you've heard that from other instructors, but in a class like this, the way I make sure that I try to ensure that you authentically learn is we have a technical interview. It's only one, and there'll be a big window of time from the beginning of the semester to the end of the semester. I recommend the sooner the better. And you come in and you will have, I will ask you, write code that does this particular function, and you'll then write SQL with me watching and talking to you about it. And I get that concept can seem really intimidating. And it's not the goal that it be intimidating, but if you're in a technical career, it won't be the last time you have some kind of technical interview. It's just the nature of the world that we live in, is that people will often, again, on the technical IT career path, have a technical interview they do. So this is a gentler version of that. If you want to know more about this, I'll be talking about it as we move through the semester, which really brings up the last topic in this particular video, the very first part of this, the step one, is like, how is this course set up? So this course is set up, and I'm going to view it as a student just to give you this to start with, is that this course is set up, and I'm going to go back because when you first come into the course, you see it like this, okay? So this course is set up to enforce sequential movement through the class. What does that mean? It really just means that you have to do the work in sequence, meaning one item after the other. You can't jump around through the course. Now, in a skill-based course, that makes sense because you don't want to try to attempt something that you haven't learned yet. So it's the way I handle all my courses. And what that means is now you're in the welcome. And I'm going to have a second video that talks about what you need to submit for this course, for this very first item. But until you do this, you can't get to the next item. And that's my point of that. Okay, so the thing I want to leave you with in my recommendation is the simple syllabus, and it's really just the syllabus. So I recommend you come in here and you actually look and read this document. I've given some written information about why I've chosen CS50. I've talked about the technical interview and why that's an important concept. I've given you my information as far as contacting me. Do know that I am on campus. That's my office, BE 113. When I'm holding office hours during the week, and you can see them here, I'm both on campus and in Zoom. So you don't have to come on campus to connect with me. You can do it through Zoom, and by the way, that technical interview can be done on Zoom. So go through the course description. There's no prerequisite. This talks about the open courseware. I do talk about the attendance policy because basically you have a part of your class that's attendance that is a little bit of work, and I talk about missing work and the dates that are important. So look through all this. And the value of technical interviews was what I talked about before. The thing that you want to understand is the way this course is set up as far as a grading. So 5% of your grade comes from the weekly attendance, where you actually have something that I'll have you accomplish. You're going to see this in the next item. Once you, well, actually not in the next item, because you'll have another video before you start that. But you'll see what I mean by this. And then you'll code along. This is where I was talking about you're going to watch the lectures and actually do the work that is shown. In this case, Carter is the instructor who gives those lectures, does an amazing job. Okay, we're going to cover querying, relating, designing, writing, and reviewing. Really what that means is we're not covering the entire course from CS50, but we're covering quite a bit of it. And then you'll have problem sets. Okay, this is where we take what we've learned, give you a, achieve this through SQL, and that's really where you develop that problem solving skill. And then 25% of this course is your technical interview, and I talk about that more. So if you want to know about those things, check that out. I talk about late passes. So I guess I'm just trying to leave you with the idea that in any course it's important to go through the syllabus and understand. And here's what I also get is that at the beginning of the semester, with all the courses that you have, it's probably the worst time to ask you to understand these concepts, but also you probably might find it on an as needed basis, meaning when I need something, I will go find it, but it's just good to have that overview. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to pick it up on the next video where I actually talk to you about the things you're going to need to submit this first assignment. I'm glad you're here, and I'll talk to you later.